Hey comic book fans, welcome back to Comic Book Corner 2.0, and fans, you're back with me, Mike Spider Slayer. Get ready to do the countdown, episode number 134. Now, I also want to welcome the SoundCloud listeners out there, as this show is now on SoundCloud. So this is the show where me, Mike Spider Slayer, counts down my favorite comics of the week, starting with the worst, making my way all the way up to that top spot. And now also, once we get done with that, I'm going to be talking about the top 20 most anticipated comics of this upcoming comic book week. So with that being said, everyone, let's get started with the countdown, starting with number 12. And number 12 this week, for the first time I think ever, an Amazing Spider-Man comic has made my worst pick of the week. For me, this book got 1.5 stars. I was solely disappointed on this whole story arc. I did not like the artwork in this book. The whole thing with Peter Parker having this girlfriend now that we know nothing about, and she was in danger and she wanted to save her mom from cancer. I felt like I did not have any empathy for her because I didn't know about this girl. I didn't know anything about her. All we got, a confirmation that they were boyfriend and girlfriend, was in this introductory page right here. We saw them in a couple issues ago having a lunch date together, but we didn't know that they were officially a couple. Now, whether this happened in the 8 months that we did not see between Secret Wars and this is another story, but then just hold off on the whole thing together with the damsel in distress thing, because it made me not even care about the female in here that was in danger, that was supposed to try to destroy Superman. I'm not a fan of Mr. Negative, so that could be part of the problem here, but Mr. Negative Mr. Negative was trying to get revenge on this one guy that was receiving an award, and of course what happens is the plan goes south. Spider-Man saves the day. He has help with Cloak and Dagger, and they do a little cheesy catchphrase at the end of it, and that was the issue. And I just did not like it. It was a pointless story arc. And this is the problem with double shipping. When you have double shipping books, this book is already on issue 8. You tend to get stories that are not going to matter in the actual universe. They're going to be these filler stories. They're going to have filler artwork. And it's just something that I don't like. I'd rather have a book come out once a month, tell solid stories so you don't waste the reader's money. And that's what I would like to see. If they're going to put out stories like this Mr. Negative story that really doesn't have a major impact in Spider-Man's world, then I don't want to read it. However, I'm not going to drop this story because the Amazing Spider-Man in general, because I've been collecting it, and I think I have every single issue since issue 300 that I've been buying monthly. So I'm just not going to stop it there. So again, 1.5 out of 5 stars from me with the Amazing Spider-Man. All right. Next, we go on to number 11. And number 11 this week goes to Sinestro, issue number 20. Sinestro is a book that was really good. Colin Bunn is the writer in this book, and I think he is kind of inconsistent with this series. The previous story arc was really well done. You see this mass army that Sinestro is assembling. You get to see the Manhunters. You wind up seeing that he's going to be the galactic defender of Sector 2814, because there is no Green Lanterns at a particular point in time. And then we wind up seeing in this story arc Green Lantern doing this battle with the Paling, and they're taking over his emotions and whatnot, and you get to see all these memories that Sinestro is going through, and I didn't like this story so much. It just felt like it was very drawn out, and everyone and their mother got a yellow core ring, and whether it was Superman or Wonder Woman and Deathstroke and Harley Quinn, just everyone and their mother again got that ring, and it was just like, it's nothing that we haven't seen before. You know, if it's certain characters, I think it's cool, and if it's done every once in a while, I think it's alright, but when it's done as frequently as it's been, it's just not neat anymore, right? So, and the artwork for me is okay. At times it's good, but then at other times the characters seem disproportionate and they seem almost too big for the page. So I was a little upset with this story arc overall, and it just, again, was too long for me. In the end, we wound up seeing Sinestro defeating this Paling, and you find out that he was a former Guardian, and it wound up taking all his power. And the way it looks like his daughter Saranic is the one that might be taking over the Yellow Corps. So I'll be interested to see where that goes and how Sinestro plays in the whole DC Rebirth type of thing. So we'll see where this goes. So after reading this one, I gave the Sinestro issue 20 a 2 3/4 out of 5 stars. All right, next we go on to number 10, and number 10 goes to Carnage issue number 5. This is another story that has been dropping off for me just a little bit here. Again, it's on issue 5. It's finally the conclusion to this first story arc. But as this story's kind of progressed, pretty much, I guess, since issue 4, the story has been going a little bit south for me because it has to do with Carnage not really being like this badass anymore. It gets kind of weird. He finds this book, this cult book, and then it makes him like these multiples of Carnage. And he's doing battle against Eddie Brock Toxin in this issue. And that's what you see in this issue mostly. It's just a big, huge fight. Just big battle scenes. Very dark. The art is has that horrific-like feel to it, and I like that. And I like James Jonason in here, J. Jonah's son, as, again, he changes into the werewolf. So we get to see that battle there. And we wound up seeing Carnage kind of get blown up and get trapped under the coal mine, but he winds up escaping and winds up going after the main bad guy in this, which was Gleason, who had this crazy cult book to begin with. So by the time we wind up getting to the end of this book, you wind up seeing Carnage kill this guy, and it looks like he is going to take the book over. So where does this story go from here? Is it like a completely different story arc, a different adventure? I'm not really sure. Will we see Eddie Brock Toxin again? Are they going to be constantly going after Carnage? It will be interesting to see now where this story goes. The first 3 issues of this book were really well done. The last 2, they were just okay for me. So in the end, I gave Carnage issue number 5 just a 3 out of 5 stars. It was an average book for me this time. No great ending. It kind of doesn't really make you want to pick up the next story arc. So I just kind of wish it was a better ending to this particular story. But we'll see where it goes. So again, 3 out of 5 stars. All right, next is number 9, and number 9 goes to Poison Ivy, issue number 2. I gave this one a 3 1/4 out of 5 stars. Cover's pretty interesting this time, as you get to see Poison Ivy. Looks like she has these policemen lusting over her, and she's handcuffed. And I have a loyal watcher of my videos by the name of Peter Barker said that this looks like it would be a particular cover for a Zenescope book, because it kind of is, you know. But when you look at it, Poison Ivy is that sexy-like character, and yes, the men will, drool over her because she's got those pheromones or whatnot. So in this book, the artwork tends to continue to be nice, maybe not as descriptive as the last issue was, and we get to see the continued investigation of her partner, and what happens is we get to see cops investigating, asking her questions, and the book kind of jumps around a lot. There's a lot of, I think, pacing issues in this book, and you kind of lose yourself in it a little bit. You get to see Poison Ivy actually interact with one of her lab assistants in the book. We get to see that investigation with Louisa. We find out that these plants that she's growing in her house has a mix of animal DNA and plant DNA, so she can do something that she's always wanted to do before. we wind up seeing this guy Darshan being introduced, and you get to learn a little bit about him, how he didn't really want to be a scientist, but he wanted to be on like America's Got Talent, but it's called Gotham Got Talent, and yeah, it just kind of jumped around a lot, and you're not really sure where the book is going to go. Or they can continue the crime scene investigation, or we can continue the relationship building with Pamela and Darshan. And what's this whole situation with Pamela having these plant babies? She winds up having a plant giving birth to 2 babies in here. And, and I made a comment, too, and in the comments for YouTube, saying that, yeah, so Pamela now has 2 babies. What is she going to do with these babies, and how is she going to feed them? Is she going to get them fertilizer? Is she going to breastfeed them? Is she going to take them the Babies R Us? Like, it just doesn't seem right, you know? And then you have another death of a scientist on the other panel down below. So, I just don't know where they're going with all this and what she's going to do with all these babies. So it was still a good read. It just it didn't feel as strong for me as the previous issue. So I gave Poison Ivy #2 a 3 1/4 out of 5 stars. All right. So now we go on to #8. And #8 this week goes to Extraordinary X-Men issue #7. Now this has been a book that's been a little bit inconsistent for me. It's been all around across the board. However, it still tends to be my favorite X-Men book because it has all the characters from pretty much Uncanny X-Men. One may be a younger version, one may be an older version, but and then we get a giant Sentinel in there. But nevertheless, the team is a lot like the Uncanny X-Men, and we get Sunfire in here as well. But this team consists of Storm, Iceman, Magic, Colossus, Cerebra, Nightcrawler, young Jean Grey, and Old Man Logan in this book. And this time around, which I felt was kind of like a filler issue of what was going on in the surrounding story, was Nightcrawler he's just lost in his mind. So what happens is Jean Grey and Storm wind up going into his mind and just finding out what's going on. And they just come across all this weird shit. Just Germany being collapsed, mutants being killed, and he just is just completely lost in his own mind. The artwork is okay. Herberto Ramos has not been on this book the past couple issues. I don't know if he's going to be on the book again. I'm not sure. I didn't check the solicits or not. But this book was just weird. You just see upside down paneling in here. Just seeing how warped that Nightcrawler's mind really is. He sees Cyclops in his visions and whatnot. But in the end, you wind up seeing that that Jean Grey and Storm kind of look like they pull him out of it, and it just looks like they'll be there to guide him going forward, and then he'll be part of the team once again. And this was a nice little page at the end where you see all the X-Men just having their concern over their teammates. So, eventually, I feel that this book is going to be a very strong book. It's just got to get there and build its consistency. I feel like it's still trying to build the team together and getting the team cohesiveness for the readers so they can understand how this team is going to work together. So, overall, Extraordinary X-Men, I give it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Not bad. All right. So now we go on to #7. And #7 this week goes to Star Wars issue #16. That's right, guys. The artwork in this book kind of took me away from it, and that's why it's a little bit lower. Linnell Yu does the artwork. It's not that great artwork that we've been seeing from Stuart Ameninen. I can never say the guy's name. But this time around, we wind up seeing Dr. Aphra being captive by the Millennium Falcon, and Princess Leia and who is it? Han Solo's wife, I think her name was like Sena or something like that. They wind up taking Dr. Aphra to this prison for obviously all the crimes that she's done, for working with Darth Vader, and they take her to this cool prison that is like right next to the sun. And it's just like complete torture for the prisoners because they're constantly being bombarded by light and heat. And Dr. Aphra is just really conceited in this book. Her character's like, you'll see, the Empire's going to come after me. They're going to rescue me. Darth Vader's not going to let me go. And these guys in this prison are like, yeah, right, you're not going to get captured. And sure enough, based off of the events of what happened in Darth Vader sent his bounty hunters to go after Dr. Aphra. And we wind up seeing that those bounty hunters are making true to their word, that they're penetrated the base and that they're going to reclaim her. Really good character moments in this book between Luke and Han Solo, as Han Solo does some gambling in here with the Rebels' money, and he winds up losing a lot. It's like 60,000 credits that he loses. So right away they bolt and they got to escape. So there was the comical relief of the book, and so that's what I liked most about it, actually. I hope that Stuart Immonen comes back to the book, because his artwork really shines, and those facial expressions is what really makes the book. However, the story still continues to be solid by Jason Aaron. He really knows how to write these characters and continues to make the series interesting. Even though it looks like we're kind of a little bit in between like major story arcs here, this was still a good and entertaining read, and I gave this one a 3 3/4 out of 5 stars. All right. Next, we go on to number 6. And number 6 is Wonder Woman issue number 49. Issues number 47 and issues number 48 of Wonder Woman felt like they were very fillerish to me. But in this particular issue, it looks like we pick up on the story here. This book is written by David Finch, and Meredith Finch, and the artwork is done by David Finch. When you look at this book visually, David Finch's artwork is absolutely gorgeous in this book. The way Wonder Woman is drawn, the way we wind up seeing Hera, the way she's drawn, again, beautiful. I love the facial expressions, love the eyes in Wonder Woman, they glisten. I just love that, because it shows, you know, her emotion and how she cares just through her facial expressions. And again, I really love that. And I love all the mythological type of creatures and goddesses that are in this series. Now, I've never really read Wonder Woman before until the Finches took over this book, so I'm still learning the character, so it's hard for me to put it in my top 5. But we get to see this goddess in here. She is named, her name is Hectic, or Hecate. I don't even know, Hecate or whatever it is. And she's the goddess of magic and witchcraft and ghosts and necromancy. And she's the one that can actually heal baby Zeke. And baby Zeke in the issue is actually sick. And Hera winds up sending her on a mission to try to save the baby. And so what happens is this Hecate winds up offering a deal to Wonder Woman, saying that she can save the baby. And, you know, you can't, it's like looks can be deceiving, because the way she looks, this goddess, is she's like this lizard creature. She's got thorns popping out of her head, and she's just like way out there. And it's insane. And but you don't know if she's friend or foe. You know, you can't really trust her. But Wonder Woman kind of takes the deal, because, you know, Hecate winds up slicing her hand, and her blood spills everywhere, and she shows this vision of how sick the baby's actually getting. So she takes this deal, and she has to get these magical orbs at the bottom of this well. And so she winds up getting these orbs. And by the time we wind up getting to the end of this issue, she winds up being attacked by this Cyclops creature. Really great artwork, and I love all that stuff, all that detail that goes into it. So, and that's basically how the issue actually ends, as the creature carries Wonder Woman on her back. So, really good book. I really enjoyed it. I wish I was more familiar with Wonder Woman's universe so I could appreciate this book for what it is. But if it wasn't for the Finches, I wouldn't have gotten into it to begin with. And you know, me and a lot of the people over on Comic Frontline, you know, we met David and Meredith Finch a few times. We had a couple of discussions with them, and they're really nice people, and their intentions are so good, and they really do write a nice story. So After reading this one, I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. All right, so next we go on to our top 5 books of the week. And number 5 goes to a book that I haven't read yet, but people have been telling me to read it. And this is the all-new Archie. And this is Archie issue number 6. And in this issue, it was kind of funny as we get to see Archie, who suffers from a concussion. The artwork is done by Veronica Fish, who does really nice artwork. The inks are bold, but I like that. It gives a lot of detail to the characters. And you get to see the story is done by Mark Waid, and Mark Waid is a great writer. But Archie winds up getting hit in the actual head by a baseball. And it was really cool that, he goes to the hospital and they're, holding up numbers, and it was a really cool story. But then you wind up seeing the rest of this story about this guy. His name is Reggie, who wants to get into this girl that he's trying to date. I don't remember all the characters' names, and trying to get into to work with him and to get into his fortune and stuff like that. So it was a really cool issue to see the tenacity of Reggie trying to actually again get into the riches of this guy to work with with Archie's friends. I can't even remember the guy's name. I completely zapped on this issue because I don't remember the characters' names, but I do remember that it was really good, and it was a fun read. And just seeing Archie just in this concussion was great. Seeing Reggie going after Ronnie's dad's money to start to work with him was really interesting, and it gives me an interest to read Archie again. And again, I loved all those facial expressions, and I love how Archie is acting in the book. So really great issue, great cliffhanger at the end as well, and I gotta give this one a 4 out of 5 stars. All right, so next we go on to number 4. And number 4, guys, this week goes to a new number 1 from Marvel, and that is Power Man and Iron Fist issue number 1. A lot of fans have probably been waiting for a Power Man and Iron Fist book for a very long time. So I feel that this is a highly anticipated book for a lot of readers. This book is written by David Walker, and the art is done by Sanford Green. And we get to see Luke Cage and Danny Rand in this issue get reunited for the first time in a long time, because they have to rescue their office manager that was thrown in jail a few years ago, and her name was Jenny Royce. In fact, it was been 5 years. We also get introduced to Jessica Jones in here, which is Luke Cage's wife, and of course she's got the baby at home. And there was always this hint throughout the comic book, oh, you guys are going to get back together, and Luke Cage like, no, we just got to do this one thing, we got to get Jenny out of jail. And they wind up getting Jenny out of jail, and you wind up seeing Jenny, who winds up going to Luke Cage and Danny and saying, you got to get this necklace. It was my grandmother's necklace and whatnot. And they're like, okay, anything for you. We kind of feel bad that it was our fault. You got thrown in jail. So they go out to Tombstone, and then they wind up talking to Tombstone, and Tombstone says, I have the necklace. Whatever you've been told has been a bunch of lies. Now, the artwork is okay. It works for Luke Cage and Iron Fist, but Tombstone's, the way the artist is drawing it, they make him like a crime boss, which is the way he is a crime boss, but he's got these big puffy lips, and Tombstone's like made out of solid rock, so I don't get where they were going with that. And if you can see that here for the YouTube watchers, you can see that, again, his lips are all puffy, he looks like this fish, and it's just weird. So, but nevertheless, they wind up fighting. Luke Cage, Iron Fist, they wind up getting this. They wind up getting the necklace. They give it back to Jenny, but she holds animosity towards them, and she winds up getting the necklace to, I think, Black Maria, who it was. And I thought it was kind of funny that it was like right away she doesn't like Luke Cage and Iron Fist anymore because, again, she holds him responsible for throwing him into jail. She's like, why are those guys? They think I'm family with them because they threw me into jail. They just left me to rot. So right away, she aligns herself with Black Maria. So I thought it was a cool issue. What made the book really good, I think, was the interaction between these two, Luke Cage and Iron Fist. I thought it was really neat. They, the chemistry with them are kind of complete opposites. Luke Cage is kind of silent, but Danny is like really outspoken, and he's always talking and he's always interrupting. He's the comic relief in the book, and I liked him. And I didn't think the humor was forced. I thought it was natural, and it was a good book and a good introduction to the story. So in the end, I gave this one as well 4 out of 5 stars. All right. Next goes to the top 3 books. So now we go to number 3, and number 3 goes to Avengers Standoff, Welcome to Pleasant Hill. This is the prelude to the whole event that's going on in the summer for the Avengers. And the good thing about this is, like, it's not the Avengers going to save the world. They're not going to save the galaxy. They're not going to save the universe. It's not this cosmic event. It's actually an event that's taking place right here on Earth. And it's taking place in an actual prison that's called Pleasant Hill. And you wind up getting to see how this prison was created. And it's all because of Maria Hill. That created this place. So what happens in this issue, which the artwork is done by Mark Bagley, which his artwork is absolutely great. The story opens up with some miscellaneous character. You don't know who he is. He doesn't know who he is. He's got no memories. He's got nothing. And you wind up finding out, though, that this place seems too good to be true for him. And he's always constantly escaping because he also heard a conversation with these 2 doctors, and he felt that something wasn't right when he got checked out when he woke up originally. So he tries to escape like 19 times. And then finally what happens is he finds himself kind of rehabilitated, and all of a sudden, as the issue progresses, you wind up seeing that there's this fire that happens in a household. And you wind up seeing someone saying, hey, I set this place on fire. There's this underground tunnel. No one's going to find you. You can find out what this place actually is. And he's like, you're crazy. So at first he kind of blows it off. But Maria Hill goes up to the mystery man, which his name is Jim. And again, great artwork. Maria Hill looks fantastic. Nice coloring. And Jim sits there and, she's getting interrogated by Maria Hill. And he's like, yeah, I don't know anything. And the next thing you wind up finding out is he goes under the ground. He winds up meeting this other mystery guy. He winds up creating this device that tells everyone, regains everyone's memories and actually exposes them for who they actually are. And this Jim character was actually shown a tutorial video of what Pleasant Hill actually was, and it is a prison for superpowered villains, and it takes away all their memories, it takes away all their identities, and it was really, really well done. And by the time we get to the end of this issue, they use this device to expose who they actually are, and they wind up finding out that it's Baron Zemo and the Fixer. And I was like, dude, I never expected those guys to even be in this book, because the whole time I was reading this issue, I was like, who is these 2 guys? At first I was like, Jim. I'm like, he looks like Captain America. He could look like the Human Torch. And then the other guy kind of looked like Tony Stark. So I was like, oh, maybe it's Tony Stark. But then when you find out it's a prison, I was like, holy shit. I'm like, these guys are completely different, they're different from what I expected. So it was a great cliffhanger, a good introduction to this story. And I think I might really like this event because this is something a little bit different that we haven't seen before. It's an Earth-based event. It's not cosmic. It's not monumental. It's just Pleasant Hill. So really cool book. And I gave this one a 4.25 out of 5 stars. Little drawn out, though. Didn't have to be so long, I felt. And about, once again, Marvel charges $4.99 for books, and they might have to reconsider some things because, you know, DC Rebirth is coming out soon, and yes, they are doing double shipping just like Marvel does, but they're charging $2.99 for their books, and I think Marvel should kind of, you know, take note to that. You know, give the readers a break. You know, you have very loyal readers, you have huge fan base. You know, does it not hurt to cut down the price of your books every once in a while? It's bad enough that we double ship, but we have to spend $8 a month for our favorite titles. And if you're a casual reader, that's a lot of money. And then even if you're a collector like me and you read a lot of books, it tends to add up very quickly. So I wish Marvel would kind of take note to that every once in a while. All right, so now we go on to that number 2 book. And that number 2 book this week goes to Spider-Woman, issue number 4. Guys, baby Drew is born into the Marvel Universe. That's right. Jessica Drew has her baby here. And this issue is really nice as we get to see the Skrull Prince that has cancer actually goes to sacrifice himself and to put himself in danger with the other Skrulls. But he winds up saving Jessica Drew while she's in labor, and you see him go through like the underground tunnels of this, you know, this facility, and it was really cool. And they lock her up in this room, and you wind up seeing her deliver this baby while the Skrulls followed them, and they're trying to break into the facility. Miss Marvel is just stuck. She can't get to Jessica in time. And so what happens is, yeah, you wind up seeing the baby get delivered by Jessica. And it was a really cool moment, you know. And, you know, you finally see the baby and you're like, as a reader, you're trying to look at, man, who's this baby look like? Like, it's got kind of like brownish, lightish hair, but you can't really make it out. Who does it belong to? Not sure. But it was cool to see Jessica get actually emotional in here. You know, she sheds a tear. She enjoys a moment with her baby. And then she's like, all right, Doc, close me up. Let's kick some freaking Skrull ass. And she winds up going and she winds up going to town on these Skrulls. She throws them through the door. She just shoots a billion blasts at them and destroys hundreds of Skrulls. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, Jessica, you just gave birth and you're like kicking these guys' ass. She's doing somersaults, all kinds of shit. And just as they all die, Captain Marvel makes her way through the door, and Jessica is just spent and she collapses on the ground. And we wind up seeing Miss Marvel and Jessica interact with each other and them sharing baby moments and things like that. And and Jessica says a great line in here. She goes, yeah, but, you know, maybe I can give this little guy a normal life. And they kind of look at each other and they just start laughing. And Captain Marvel's like, no way in hell. And Jessica goes, yeah, he's totally screwed. And I love that ending to this book. The last 2 issues of this series has been really, really good. And I've been very hopeful for this series since issue number 1 when Dennis Hopeless took over this book. I'm a huge fan of his writing. I love Avengers Arena. And I love some of the Avengers Academy, and I love some of the other books that he writes. And this story is really shaping up, and he's really developing Jessica Drew in his own way, and I can appreciate that now. So we're going to see where this story goes now with Jessica being a mother and how she protects her child, and will her child have superpowers? So I think that's going to be neat. So in the end, I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. All right. So, what book got the number 1 book of the week? Well, everybody, that book goes to Superman, American Alien, issue number 4. I wasn't too sure on what to think about this particular issue this time around, as the cover looked weird. We know that Clark is now Clark, young Clark Kent, going to the Daily Planet for the first time, or a student doing reporting for the first time. And Jay Lee does the artwork in this book. However, it kind of seemed to fit, because it's like everything is lightly toned, and it's kind of like in a way, you look at the work as things are to come for Clark in his future. They're faintly there, but soon things will just get much more real. And I kind of really appreciated the way that the artwork was in here. But it was cool because, you know, it starts off a pretty crappy day for Clark. He winds up getting his truck stolen. He winds up going to the Daily Planet in Gotham, and he winds up meeting Lois Lane for the first time, who he actually thought was Lois, like Louis Lane, and he didn't realize it was a female, so you get to see that. He meets up with Oliver Queen, and you know, Oliver Queen sits there and he goes, "Yo, Bruce Wayne." So based off of the last issue, when you got to see Superman or Clark posing as Bruce Wayne, he thought he was Bruce Wayne, but Clark finally confesses to him when he takes him for a ride in the helicopter. And so he kind of winds up giving him a solid here. He winds up dropping him off at LexCorp, and he gives him an interview with Lex Luthor. And Lex Luthor is very young at this time. He's just getting started with his companies, and Clark Kent asks him a bunch of questions, and we get to see we get to see Lex Luthor, excuse me, and just giving these crazy speeches, kind of like how he is going to be in the future. And when he gives his crazy speech, he's like, "I'm exceptional and you're not, and I'm better than everybody else." And he's like, "How's that?" You know, and it's like he took it kind of very lightly at the end. He's like, "Well, that's pretty interesting," you know. And so he's just like, "Hey, thanks, Mr. Luthor, for all your time," and just the elevator doors closed. So what happens then is the next step is that Clark winds up going into LexCorp Kid Zone, and then he winds up meeting Grayson for the first time in the book, and it was so cool to see like Grayson's character as you get to see that he's examining Clark on everything that is happening to him. So he's like, "Come on, Grayson, let's focus on this guy. Who is this guy?" He's like, "He smells like smoke. Oh, he doesn't smoke too. He took the metro this morning. Oh, his hair is short. It's slightly uneven. He cuts his own hair. Windswept. He rides by helicopter." Like, he reads everything about him, and I thought it was really cool. And then at the end of this issue, you wind up getting to see Batman meet Clark for the first time, as Batman sits there and he goes, "Who are you? How did you get into Bruce Wayne's yacht? How did you defeat Deathstroke? What did you want with Dick Grayson?" So he's been following him this whole time, and you wind up seeing Clark just go to town on Batman. He legitimately rips the suit off of his body, and as he was doing his story, he was, typing in his story. That's when Batman made his attack, and he still has all his recordings on a video cassette recorder, and he winds up getting in contact with Lois Lane, and he winds up striking this deal with Lois about doing this story together, and that's kind of looks like how Clark becomes an employee of the Daily Planet and gets internationally known as a reporter. Now, what was really cool was this one-page story by Max Landis, where you get to see Rudy Jones, who is Parasite, go through his life in just one page. You get to see him as a baseball player. You wind up getting to see him go to the doctor. You wind up seeing him get alcohol abuse, then he goes through drug abuse. Then he winds up going to prison. He winds up getting money for test subjects so he can do his drugs. He winds up getting injected through drugs. And you wind up seeing that he starts becoming the crazy creature known as Parasite. And he winds up starting to eat all the people. So I thought that was a really cool story as well. So overall, this book was absolutely outstanding. I really, really enjoyed it. Had a lot of fun with it. Superman American Alien tends to be on top of its game, and I can't wait to see what issue number 5 has to bring now. Does Superman American Alien actually don the suit for the first time? Not sure, but we'll see where it goes. So there you guys have it. There is the countdown for the comics this week. So in the comments below, make sure you tell me, guys, what your favorite comics are for the week. What are your least favorite comics of the week? And guys, now we're going to go on to the top 20 books that are highly anticipated for this week. Now, this top 20 is based off of Comixology. If you guys don't know which books come out each week, you can go on to Comixology.com. You can create a pull list for yourself and to see which books are highly anticipated and which ones maybe you might be most excited for. So let's start off with number 20 this week. And number 20, it goes to Carnage, issue number 2. Carnage versus a warehouse full of enemy agents. The agents don't stand a chance, but the Zen gunner can turn the air itself into a deadly weapon. Carnage is in trouble. Now, Carnage, I didn't read the first issue, and it seems like, I heard that, I don't know if this came out in Secret Wars or whatever, I don't even know, but Carnage seemed like a very popular first issue, but Carnage is just a character that I never learned about, so I don't really have an interest in the book, so I probably will not be picking it up this week. Alright, so number 19, most highly anticipated book this week, goes to New Avengers, issue number 7. The Maker is back, but what does the strange head of Whisper want with the White Tiger? So, New Avengers number 7 is another book that I really don't like. I think mainly because of the artwork. I read the first issue. I didn't like where the direction it was going for some reason. And I usually give a story at least an arc, but I just couldn't stand that artwork. It was too way out there for me. And, again, can't read every book, but this is number 19 on the list. Alright, so number 18 on the list this week goes to Fight Club 2, number 9. Tyler's minions stow all the world's treasures before they trigger the Armageddon, or as they call it, the Tranquility Gambit. Sebastian is forced to battle his own son as he and Maria rekindle their love. This book is done by Dark Horse Comics. It is a $3.99 price point. Once again, this is another book that I don't normally pick up. I did hear good things about it. I did read issue number 1. I just didn't enjoy it as much as I should, I guess. But again, it's this is one of those books that was just not for me. But this was number 18 on the list. Now we go to number 17 on this week's list, and it goes to Batman and Robin Eternal, issue number 21. Everything that can go wrong does. In both the past and the present, Batman spent years believing Mother was dead. I fell off of this book. I said this last week. I just can't do weekly series. They just get too old for me, and even though I believe that this is a good story, I feel like a weekly series would be better in a read in a trade, where you can take your time and read it whenever you want, and I think that's where I would enjoy it more. I read like the first 12 or 13 issues of it, and then I dropped off of it. Next is Canon, The Last Padawan, issue number 11. The conclusion of Caleb Dumm's first foray into the Clone Wars, an inevitable conflict with General Grievous, Star Wars adventures from the Republic to the Rebellion. So this continues the adventures of Canon. I actually read the first probably about 7 issues of this. Then I just felt like it just got a little bit old for me as well. I love seeing that first story arc of Canon, and I love the actual artwork in the book, but then it just got to the point where we went even further back in his history before that story took place, and I just found myself getting to the point where I don't need to know that much about the character's history, so it makes me feel like I'm learning more about him than maybe Obi-Wan Kenobi or Darth Vader or somebody else like in the main Star Wars universe. Alright, so next we go on to number 15. And number 15's book this week goes to Outcast, written by Robert Kirkman and Azteca. Overwhelmed, Kyle is alone, facing one of his most dangerous exorcisms to date. This one will not be pretty. Pretty interesting cover. I heard recently that this book has picked up. I think this book is starting to get more popularity because this is going to be a show. And I read the first probably 3 issues of this, and I just found the book, it was just really slow paced. So again, not my style of book. However, I do know a lot of people that are enjoying it. So if you guys are interested in it, it is only $2.99. All right, next goes to number 14 this week. And number 14, most highly anticipated book of the week, goes to All New X-Men, issue number 5. Which is more stubborn, a teenage X-Men or a homicidal villain whose power is literally to render himself immovable? So in the last issue, you wind up getting to see X-23, Laura, doing battle against the Blob. And we wound up seeing Angel trying to warn Laura that one day she's going to get in trouble because she always dives headfirst into trouble. And at the end of that last issue, we wound up seeing her do that battle against the Blob, and she was getting her ass kicked. Now, I like this series. I think this series is becoming very well done, and I feel like we're getting touched on a little bit on all the actual characters. Dennis Hopeless writes this book as well, and he did this in Avengers Arena, where he explores a little bit of all the characters so the reader can get to know these characters better, and then you get to appreciate them more. So I think that's what he's doing in this series. We did a last story arc on Cyclops. This story arc seems to be about Laura. So really cool book. I'm definitely picking that one up. Next book goes to number 13 on highly anticipated list of the week, and it goes to Superman Wonder Woman issue number 26. Savage Dawn continues. Suffering the terrible loss, Wonder Woman comes to the aid of the kryptonite-charged Man of Steel to face the terror of the twins of Vandal Savage. Superman and Wonder Woman, I'm reading it because of the whole Savage Dawn storyline. I want to see what happens to Superman in this whole thing, if he gets his powers back the way he should by the time Rebirth actually happens. So I'm definitely reading this one this week. Price point is $3.99. Next is Grayson. Grayson, issue number 17. It falls on number 12 on highly anticipated list of the week and goes Agent 37 has run out of allies to turn to his fight against Spiral. His only choice is to go even deeper into the shadows and recruit a team of spies that will help him challenge the monster. Yeah, so not reading Grayson. I read a couple issues here and there where he's interacting with the Bat family. However, besides that, I have not read any of these issues. I liked Grayson when he was Nightwing. That's where I liked him. So, not reading this one. However, it did get over 1,300 pulls this week. So, very highly anticipated book. Another book that is related in the Bat family, which is number 11 this week, goes to Dark Knight 3, Master Race, number 3 of 8. The hardest thing of Batman is to admit his greatest strength. He's just one man, and sometimes he needs help with so much at stake. Will he turn to help, or help of the super variety? So, again, this is another book I'm not reading, just because I never read Dark Knight 1 and I never read Dark Knight 2. I did read the first issue of this. I kind of felt a little bit lost, so I never continued it. But I know a lot of people are reading it. Some have mixed feelings about it, and some say it's good, some say it's okay, and then some say it's great. So, I guess it just depends on if you're a fan or not. Alright, so moving forward, what cracks the top 10 most highly anticipated book of the week? That one goes to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, issue number 55. Recent events have strained many relationships among the TMNT and their allies. Many must die, whether to trust or to betray, to separate or to stay. What am I reading, a poem here? And to love or to hate. So, yeah, so this is a new story arc. We get to see Michelangelo in the last story basically kind kind of looks like he's going to go off on his own. He doesn't want to be part of the mutant animals. He doesn't want to be part of the rest of his family due to the recent events of what happened in issue number 50. And so he's kind of left on his own here. So we're going to see where this story goes. It's a good book. I've been reading it for a while. And if you're a TMNT fan, this is a must. You must read this. All right. I can't believe this cracked number 9, but Amazing Spider-Man 1.3. This got over 1,400 pulls, and the plot thickens as Spidey's investigation into a newly resurrected Harlem man takes him into terrifying territory. The Sanitarians are Spider-Man's guides, and the journey will take them far from... Ooh, cliffhanger. So, with Amazing Spider-Man, the one-point stories, I'm not buying them anymore. I think they're a complete waste of money. When Marvel introduced the points, it was supposed to be a jumping on point. That was the point of the point, if that makes any sense whatsoever. But now, with the points, they introduce stories in between the main series, which I think is dumb. If you want to make a separate story arc within the main series, just make it a mini-series. Just call it the Amazing Spider-Man title number 1 of 4, just like DC does. This kind of ruins the way... you collect the volume as well. And from what I heard, that this story is very rough. A lot of people don't like it, and I can't believe that it's so high on people's list. Maybe people are just collecting it just to collect the Amazing Spider-Man book. But nevertheless, I'm not collecting these point stories because it's not true to what Marvel said these point stories are. They are not good jumping on points for readers. They're just, again, a money grabber. And this is $3.99. So when you count these point stories, it's like Amazing Spider-Man comes out every freaking week. So it's not affordable for people. And, you know, if you want people to read your stories, make them affordable. All right, next. We go on to the number 8 highly anticipated book of the week, and it goes to All New, All Different Avengers, issue number 6. The villain pulling the Avengers strings stands revealed. Someone who's been a part of the Avengers history for almost all of the team's existence is in the way. You have never seen them before. So we'll see what happens. Vision has been behind the sabotage of the all-new, all-different Avengers. He kind of frames Miss Marvel. He kind of frames Nova. He kind of throws Captain America, Sam Wilson, and Jane Foster Thor into this portal. Jane Foster loses her connection with the hammer, so now she's her cancered self. And so the story seems to be progressing nicely. The characters just seem to be a little bit out of character. They seem to be over the top. However, I'm going to continue this book. I'm going to feel that Mark Waid is going to find his way with these characters and tone it down a little bit. And I think this will be a good book because I like the roster of this team. And it's a little bit lighter. It's not as dark as we've seen because of Secret Wars. So this book got over 1,500 pulls. And again, it fell number 8 this week on most highly anticipated books. All right. Number 7 this week goes to Daredevil issue number 4. Facing roadblocks at every turn, ADA Matt Murdock struggles to build a case against the duplicitous founder of the Church of Sheltering Hands, which is Tenfinger. So we got to see Daredevil is doing this constant battle against Tenfinger and his gang. Matt Murdock now confronts Tenfinger as his attorney self, and this book is really cool. However, from the last volume, it's completely night and day. So I think you're going to get completely different type of readers on this book. Because Sam Raimi and I think Mark Waid wrote the last series, and so it's completely different. It's much darker. The artwork is darker, has a more of a tone like the Daredevil series on Netflix. So I don't know if this is a book for you, but if you like the Netflix series, you might like this. And however, once again, it is $3.99, but it is a good book. I personally enjoy it myself, and so I gave this one. This one falls number 7 this week. All right, so now we go on to number 6, and number 6 goes to Chew, number 55. This is the end of the second to last story arc for Chew. And somebody dies in this particular issue. We're not sure who it is. Chew ends at issue 60. This is written by John Layman. The book is $3.50. I have every single issue of Chew. And it's a very well-told story. It's about this guy who's an FDA agent, and he has the ability, which is called a kybopath, to try to eat something, and he can find out where it came from, where it was made, how it was produced, and he uses this to solve crime. And this story is ending on issue 60, and for about the past 5 years or so, I've been reading this book, and we're only 5 issues away from the end. I can't believe it, and it's pretty high up there on the list. It's number 6. So if you guys read Chew, don't forget it comes out this week. All right, next, number 5 on this week's list is Aquaman, issue number 49. In the aftermath of the Tulu invasion, Aquaman must show the people of Atlantis that he was the target of a conspiracy and earn their trust once more. And no, it's not going to be easy. I don't read Aquaman. I've never read Aquaman. And I'm not sure if I will read Aquaman Into the Rebirth. It will depend on the creative team on it. If we have a good creative team, I might pick it up. If I find out that Meredith Finch might write it, and then there's this artist from Zenescope Entertainment that wrote The Little Mermaid is on that book. If that was to happen, I would read that book because the art would be good, and I think the story was well done. So we'll see where it goes with Aquaman in the future. But currently, I'm not reading it. However, a lot of you are reading it. It has over 2,600 pulls. All right, so number 4 this week goes to Superman, issue number 49. Savage Dawn continues. Superman and Wonder Woman led an army of gods and monsters against Vandal Savage and his deadly spawn. Yeah, this is just a weird story now. You know, Superman loses his powers, right? Didn't know how to get him back. He came up with this theory of exposing himself to a ton of kryptonite to destroy the old cells and to regenerate new cells. Now he's kryptonite cosmic powered. He's got this aura surrounding by him. He flies around with kryptonite. He's got green eyes. And it's just like, wow, it's all of a sudden now it's just crazy. So the thing that would totally kill him has totally powered him. And now, how does he get himself cured for that? Will the powers deplete? Is he more like an Ultraman? I don't know. But how does Superman get back to normal Superman? And I think that's what DC readers want. They want their Superman back, and I think we're going to get that when DC Rebirth comes back. So, Superman number 49 is number 4 on this week's highly anticipated comics of the week. All right. Next goes to number 3, and the number 3 book goes to Flash, issue number 49. On the run from the police task force assigned to take him out, the Flash must face the Gotham Central City Police Department's newest deputies, the Rogues. As you can tell from the cover, it doesn't go particularly well. So yes, in the cover, if you do see this image, you see Flash. He's behind bars. I haven't read this series since when was it? Since Convergence, I think it was. I just think Robert Venditti took this character in a direction that a lot of people don't enjoy. And I've read this since the beginning of the New 52, and when I dropped it, I was very disappointed because I loved Francis Manapul's work on that book, and I had a lot of fun with it. And this hasn't been the Flash that I was reading. Now, again, can't wait for Rebirth. Can't wait to see how the Flash is done there. But a lot of you guys out there are highly anticipated for this book. Got over 3,000 pulls for the week. So, and this got number 3. Alright, so next goes to number 2. The number 2 most highly anticipated book of the week goes to Saga, issue number 34. And all it says is, new friends are silver. I have no idea what the fuck that means, but you guys are fans of Saga out there. It's got over 5,600 pulls based off of the Comixology pull list. And, you know, Saga is a great book. Brian K. Vaughan hits the nail on the head, man. He knows how to tell a story. It has this nice balance of shock value. Really fleshes out the characters a lot. Makes you care for them. The story's intriguing. Just overall, it's a nice book. A very creative world. I read it. I can't wait to see where it goes. They're on the search for baby Hazel in the book. Alana and Markle has rekindled their life. It's a totally awesome book. I suggest you guys read it. If you haven't, you can buy it in trade. Image makes their trades very affordable, but it is the number 2 book this week. So, what book got most highly anticipated book for the week of February 24th, 2016? Well, that book goes to another DC book, and that is Justice League issue number 48. It's the epic Darkseid War continues as the League is forced to unite with their evil counterparts, the Crime Syndicate. So, what is going to happen in this book? Is this going to be kind of how Rebirth kicks off, based off of the Darkseid War? I'm not sure, but we got to see a lot of people in the last issue, and it seems like forever the last issue of this series came out, but we got to see, I think, Superwoman in there where she was pregnant, like really pregnant, and we got to see Power Ring, and we got to see just all the Crime Syndicate. Owlman was in there, so it'll be really cool to see how these guys team up to defeat well, Darkseid's dead, but his daughter Grail. And that book is a really well done book. Jeff Johns has been on that book from the beginning, and it just proves that Jeff Johns is such a great writer, and he knows really how to write these characters. Now, if it wasn't for DC Rebirth, I would say, well, what's the point of this Darkseid War? You know, because it's like these characters in this series have no implications on what's going on in the rest of the DC universe. But now that Rebirth is coming and we're going to get a continuity back and things like that, it's going to be good to see this DC universe come back to the way people knew and loved it. So I am really highly anticipating Rebirth. So there you guys have it. There is the countdown of the week. You got to see the countdown of my books that I read for the week, and you got to see the countdown for the books that are most highly anticipated. So once again, guys, tell me your favorite comic of the week. Tell me your least favorite comic of the week. Tell me all this stuff in between. Tell me the books that you're looking forward to buying this week. Maybe the ones that are your least looking to buy. And guys, hopefully on YouTube you enjoyed this video. Hopefully on SoundCloud you enjoyed the audio version. And fans, as always, don't forget to check out my YouTube channel, Comic Book Corner 2.0. Don't forget to check out my other YouTube channel, Comic Book Corner Old School. And fans, thank you for watching. And until the next comic book review, this is Mike Spider Slayer signing off. And I'll see you guys real soon. Take care, guys. Bye.